What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new commentary video. First of all, I just want to say thank you for clicking on the video. Today we just got some Warzone gameplay. I've kind of been into it the last couple weeks. It's kind of just been something fun to kind of chill and play through, and yeah. Anyways, I just want to give a little heads up. This is the third time recording this because I've had internet troubles and fucking power issues. I love America so much, don't you guys? Anyways, we're not gonna, sit here and complain on that for too long. But anyways, today we got something a little different. This topic kind of came up in my head because I was having a discussion with somebody at work, and he's I can say his age. He's 16. And we were having a conversation just about life and stuff, and he kind of looked over at me and he kind of told me, life kind of sucks right now. His girlfriend broke up with him. And I've talked a lot about how breakups are hard, and that wasn't our discussion. Our discussion is how he was very upset because he thought that this was going to be, the one, and he wanted it to be the girl that he loved and was in love with forever. And we kind of had a discussion about sort of, how those expectations aren't exactly real. And unfortunately, a lot of people have these expectations. They have these expectations that the first girl they are going to fall in love with is going to be the girl that they're going to be with for the rest of their life. And trust me, girls do the same thing too. They think that the first guy that falls in love with them or vice versa is going to be the one forever. And the truth is that statistically that's probably not true. But that's not necessarily the point. And the point is that he kind of had this outlook on life and women and sort of relationships in general in this very negative light, and how sort of he can never be happy now because of this. And it's like, look, I've had discussions with people in my real life, and we had this friend that sort of dealt with this too, where it's like, look, it sucks. And unfortunately, the thing is that the first girl that you date or the first girl that you fall in love with is probably going to ruin you, man. The thing is that, and this goes for girls too, is that, the first guy that you fall in love with, or the first, person that you think is going to be that person isn't going to be. They probably won't be. And in some cases, it's going to suck. In a lot of cases, it's going to suck. And you're going to realize that you can't let that hamper on all your future relationships. You can't hamper how you view women in the world, right? Because when you do that, you turn into this fucking douchebag that nobody likes. We had this guy that we went to school with that had this outlook on life and women in general. And basically, he sort of had this view that no girls liked him and that nobody wanted to be with him and all this stuff. And he sort of had this outlook that that's how life was always going to be. And the thing is that that's not how life is going to be. That's not how women are going to view you, and that's not how the world works. Every guy is going to go through this thing in their life where they're going to go through rejection. They're going to go through this period where they might have a lot of women reject you. And I'll be honest with you, man. Some people may be like, it's embarrassing. I don't think it's embarrassing at all. It's part of life. I have gone through many people where I was really into this person. I was really into them. I was really feeling the vibe or whatever. And they didn't reciprocate it back. And I didn't make a fuss out of that. And I didn't turn it into my personality to, hate on women or to hate on, other people. That's never how I took it. And I don't understand that perspective. I think that perspective is a bit childish. I think that it's important to realize that the thing is that relationships are these weird things, right? It's a very odd thing to date. It's this very odd thing to fall in love, right? And because it's such an odd thing, it's a weird thing too when we don't get that, right? And especially when you're in high school, dude. Don't think that that's going to impact the rest of your life and your dating life for the rest of your life. Let me tell you right now, it's not going to, all right? As somebody that dated a handful of people throughout high school and stuff, it's not going to, all right? Like literally, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I literally mean that, look, this is, I've talked about this a lot, where high school in this transitional period between high school and college and sort of the start of college is sort of this opportunity for you to find yourself and really understand who you are as a person, right? And that's true in this sense too, right? Is that you need to understand something. when you are 16, 17 years old and you're really experiencing dating and these things for the first time, you're experiencing love, you know, I don't want to get too graphic with it, but you get the point. The thing is this. When you go through these things in life and you start to, you know, experience these things and you start to experience these feelings that you haven't felt before, you're just figuring this stuff out. You have been on Earth for 16 years. You haven't even been on the Earth for a quarter of your life. Not even close, right? Like, you have so much time to sort of figure out how life works, right? And just because you're 16 and you aren't having this ideal relationship doesn't mean that you're not going to. And number one, I guess number two, I really hate this idea because I think a lot of it is sort of inspired by movies and social media. I think that a lot of people in general online compare themselves to other people via social media, obviously. You know, I mean, we've seen that for a long time. But also, they sort of base their relationships off of this. And that, to me, is a bad idea. You should not be basing your relationships off of social media or what you're seeing your friends go through or whatever it may be. That's not a healthy, number one, it's not a healthy way to live. And number two, that's not realistic, right? I mean, everybody kind of knows this, but social media, well, I hope that you realize this, social media isn't real. And when you see a happy couple online, sometimes they're not happy in private. Sometimes when they turn that cell phone off and, you know, they're not, you know, on camera and they're not performing, they're not doing fun things that they normally do on camera, sometimes they're not having a good relationship. And I think that's something that it's important to remember that sometimes, is that unfortunately, life isn't just social media. And unfortunately, life isn't just the relationships that we are shown, right? I mean, especially if you're my age and a little older and even a little younger, you've seen so many public relationships, right? We've even seen some crumble. And the truth is that those are public relationships for a reason. They're trying to sell you on something. They're not actual relationships that are functional in a lot of cases. And we saw this with Kim and Kanye, right? We've seen this, where we thought that they had this amazing relationship and that things were great. Turns out they fucking weren't. Now were they, right? And that's the thing that I want you to keep in mind, because like when you have this mentality that your life sucks and that women suck because one broke your heart or because, you know, you don't like where your relationship status is at, you turn into a bit of an incel, and I kind of hate that word, but it's true. You kind of are turning yourself into this perspective where it's like, I'm not actually feeling myself now, am I? And I'm not truly giving people the benefit of the doubt, and I'm not trying. Instead, I have this outlook on the world where it's like, oh, I hate all women, and all women are fucking bitches. No. Don't think like that. You come off as an absolute fucking douchebag when you think like that. And when you have these perspectives that, hey, my friend has this, why don't I have this? That's a really shitty way of just looking out on things, right? Like that's not how you should be looking out on things. That's not how you should be growing things. And realistically, that's not somebody that people want to be around, is when you have this weird perspective on dating and girls in general that makes you just look negative and down on the world, right? And I think what's really important is to kind of remember that, especially like when you're learning to date in these things, you're gonna have these situations, man. Like there's really interesting thing that I've seen where a lot of people my age sort of had this perspective that dating is pointless. Women are bitches. I want to be clear. Those guys grow out of that shit, okay? They do. They truthfully do. And if they don't, well, they kind of wasted their life away, in my opinion. They've kind of wasted away and decided that, guess what? I'm not going to be this person that gets a relationship. I'm going to be the fucking loser. I'm the nice guy that constantly gets fucked over. Let me give you a little secret. If you say that you're the nice guy, you probably actually aren't. You might be nice, but you're not actually a good partner, and that's something that you got to realize. People aren't just not picking you because they just want to hate on you or that they want to ruin your life and make you miserable. That's not what it's about. There must be something, in at least most cases, that there's something going on that they're not vibing with, or that you're giving off a vibe that you're not somebody that's going to help them in the long run. And that partially is what a relationship is about. And that's really a shitty way to live. And I don't want you to live like that. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I just kind of wanted to hop on and talk about this a little bit because, you know, I've had a couple people in my life kind of feel this way and talk this way about themselves and women and stuff, and I really feel like it's a really negative way of living and thinking, and I don't want to see you guys fall into that either, because it's not good for anyone. It's not good for society, and it's not good for yourself. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you once again. If you are interested, there's a link down in the description to join our Discord. There's also a link to get 10% off of all products on W Energy's website. That includes energy drinks, that includes energy cans, that also includes merchandise. Anyways, once again, guys, I want to say thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much. Have a good rest of your night, and peace.